What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. So I haven't been making all that many videos, especially like over the weekend. It was Mother's Day weekend. We had a family game night, and on top of that, I'm still trying to put hours in on my stuff because I'm starting to feel the pressure because we are 40 something days out. I don't know, I'll put it on the screen, I'll have to do the math. I don't really want to think about that right this second, but we'll do a walk around and I'll share some of the stuff that we got done on the boom. We're making great progress, and I'm hoping we can get to a point where I'm a little less stressed and I feel like I have some headroom, and then I can get back to making videos while I'm working on it. But if I continue to feel like I'm kind of under the gun, the whole goal of this deal is to take this thing to Rocky Mountain Race Week, and we are way too invested to not bring a running, driving car. And if that means you get talking head videos instead of work videos, it is what it is, because what you're here for is race videos, right? That's what majority of people are here for. So let's take a look at what we got going. She probably looks a bit different than last time you saw her. So we have a front plate, which Ryan talked me into, and then the mid plate, and then I've got this welded on the one side. I need to weld the back side, but I'll do that when I take this out, right? So now we've got a mid plate, front plate. I have a little more trimming. I think I'm going to trim it down here for the fuel. I'll have to make that notation, but everything else is good to go. I got my guys from War working on spacers, so you can see these spacers initially were for truck spacing, so we are working on a plan to implement, so we still have the plate, we'll have the truck spacing, but I'm going to use a Camaro pump is kind of the plan. I'll go over that when I get it, but they are facilitating that. I think it's probably on its way. Friends over at Holly, we went with the high ram. I don't know if I announced this or not. I don't think that I did, but we ended up going this route because sooner or later I'd like to do the sandwich intercooler, is kind of what I thought. And speaking of intercooler, we have this mounted, and I believe I showed that last time. We've got it all mounted in and good to go. And then you're probably looking at this and wondering, hey, does that touch stuff? And it does not. So it doesn't rub here, and it actually doesn't touch the hood, and I can actually come up a little bit off of this guy. So everything is tight. This was an easy weld, thankfully, so our beads look good. But on the rest of the hot side, we made beads and boogers, unfortunately. So that is all in and mounted. This goes here. I have the rest of the cold side. Actually, this is what I worked on over the weekend. So you can see where we started kind of boogering some stuff. And then we used old pipe, new pipe, all the pipe. And then this portion actually goes into the turbo and then goes across the front of the car. So the end of this is supposed to be welded to the end of that. But I'm waiting on a V-band for here that mounts on the turbo, so that way we can get that tacked in and good before we weld this, just in case we have to make any adjustments. I don't want to screw myself or tack it and then rip the pipe and then stuff short. So we got this far, and then we're just going to be patient. So yeah, that basically is all the cold side plumbing, and it runs across the front bottom of where the radiator is. And then speaking of that, we've got this guy. So I mounted this yesterday. This is a True Cool for the 40 kVW, and this is actually the one off of this when we roached the transmission previously, and then it just had clutches. It didn't have any major material in it, so we will just rinse this guy out and this thing will be fine for what we're doing. But I want to thank the guy that said to put it this way, because I didn't take your advice and I mounted it the other way, and then it ended up being wrong. So you're correct. If you have a transmission cord, it needs to be mounted sideways so the fittings are top and bottom. If you do it like that, your inlet needs to be on the bottom and outlet needs to be on the top, so you pump the air out. Or you mount it this way, right? And then inlet and outlet don't matter. But the reason you do that is so this doesn't drain back into your pan, and it doesn't trap air, essentially, is the main thing. Because I guess if you mount it on your side, you still would drain back into the pan. But when you pump the fluid, pump the air out, and there you go. So we got the mounts on the bottom, and then the cold side plumbing cruises along here, boop, and then we will have to make the lines and all the stuff for that. Yeah, turbo is clocked where it's supposed to be. Like I said, it meets up and it cruises around just right over here, so it should clear all this stuff. And yeah, so that is a look at basically where we are. you guys have any other questions, whatever, let me know. Also, well, I got you because you guys are smart, especially if you watch this to the end. Parachute mount. So my idea, this is actually tow hitch, this is like 1/4 inch or whatever, big boy stuff, was to drill a hole essentially in this and then mount the clevis right off the end, right? So the chute, pack chute will be here, and then the rope will go down to here, the cords with the clevis, right? And then this would just bolt in and out with a grade 8 bolt, and then I could just take this out and the whole entire chute would come out of the car, and then obviously I'd have a cable and I could just tuck that behind the bumper or whatever and put this up, and then we could go driving. But my question is, and I keep asking, but I've heard pretty much that this would be doable, is fine, is if the clevis piece, if I had it welded like to the end of this, where that's what the chute actually pulls on, if that's legal, or if that piece actually needs to be welded to the frame. This is actually welded to a bar that goes all the way across and then welded on either side of my chassis. So this receiver guy is actually welded to the chassis, so technically that's part of the chassis. So I think that's the legality portion. And I think this can slide in and all this stuff, and it could just be on a grade 8 bolt. But if you know parachute stuff, because you guys seem to be pretty sharp, because a lot of the stuff that's gotten pointed out that I've done incorrectly, you guys have been right. So I'm gonna reach out to the community and ask you guys on that one. Hopefully I don't already fudge it and have it along before this video goes live and some smarter than me guy figures that out. But that is it. That's a walk around on the boom. That's where we're at. I'm chipping away at it every day. I believe Ryan has the parts that he needs to kind of get rolling on that deal, and I still have some work to do. Obviously we've got plenty on my plate left over here, so we will keep on chipping away. You guys know what to do. Till next time, I'm out.